Hi, all. This is Ms. Billerbeck, and I'm going to be talking about section 12.2. So we are going to talk about circumference and area of a circle. So if we have a circle here with a diameter here, the diameter goes all the way across the circle, right through here. And then we have our radius, which is only halfway through the circle. So there's two radii that make up a diameter. So diameter equals radius plus radius. So diameter equals 2 radii. So the circumference, as I said before, was like a perimeter. So it's like that tire that goes around the rim of the bicycle tire. So circumference then equals 2 pi r, or pi times the diameter. And we measure circumference in units. Area, A, is pi radius squared, or r squared. So that'd be square units when we finish finding the units. Interestingly enough, pi came about when people started measuring all around circular objects, and then they'd measure across the circular object, and they kept dividing the circumference by the diameter, or the circumference by 2 radii. Actually, they just did circumference divided by the diameter, but we know that the diameter is equal to 2 radii. So this divided by this equals this divided by this, and strangely enough, it's 3.1415926. So if it's March 14th at 1:59 and 26 seconds, you could really celebrate Pi Day. So that's one way to remember it. March 14th at 1:59 and 26 seconds. So next year, okay, we'll be at school. Now, another interesting thing about pi is it approximates to 22/7. Isn't that interesting? So this little sign here means approximates, the little double waved sign. So approximately 22 divided by 7. So that's a really good estimate of pi. So let's go on to an example. So example 1. The radius of a circle is 4 centimeters. What is the circumference and area? So the circumference, we're given the radius. So that's important. So that means we have to have 2 pi r here. So we have 2 pi, and then r is 4. So if we want to leave this in terms of pi, which many times questions ask you to do that, you just write 8 pi centimeters. And area would be pi r squared. So we have pi times 4 squared equals 16 pi, and we're going to say centimeters squared. Now, isn't it interesting that when we do say metric units, we say centimeters squared, but how do we say this one? We say inches, square inches usually. We usually don't say inches squared, we say square inches. Square feet when we talk about carpet. How many square feet is that? So when we're dealing with English units, we usually say square and then the unit. But when we talk about metric units, we usually say the unit first and then squared. Okay, so just a little tidbit there. All right, so this one says the circumference of a circle is 8 pi inches. What is the radius, diameter, and the area of the circle? So if we have circumference equals 8 pi, but we say, wait a minute, that is the same thing as pi d. So, oh, look, we could divide by pi, and that gives us 8 equals d. Well, we just found the diameter. Well, if we know the diameter, we know that the diameter equals 2r. So if 2r equals 8, then we have 2 times r. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we divide by 2, and we end up with r equals 4. Now, we were dealing with inches, so that's 4 inches. And this diameter here would be 8 inches. So it should be twice as big as a radius, because it takes 2 radii to make a diameter. Now, the last question was, what is the area of the circle? So if we look at area, so area equals pi r squared. Well, we just found the radius. So we have area equals pi times 4 squared, which gives us 16 pi. And this is inches, so we can write inches with a little 2. Or if we want to write it with words, we'd say square inches. All right. I'd ask you if you have any questions, but I can't hear you. All right, so our last example on this is, what if we're given a semicircle? And that's all they give us, just this one measly little radius. How dare they, so you say. Okay, so what is the perimeter and the area of the semicircle? So we know from the picture that the radius is 3. All right, if it's a semicircle, we can find out this. If it had gone all the way around, we could have used our circumference. The circumference is 2 pi r. But we're only doing half of the circumference. So half of the circumference and half of 2 pi r. Well, that means when we multiply by 2 on both sides, we have that cancels these out. Actually, we don't have to multiply by 2 because we're just trying to find half of the circumference. So what is that? So half of 2 is 1. So we have pi r. Well, we know what r is. It's 3. So this is 3 pi. And we also know what this is, because this is also the radius. And this is also the radius. So now we could say the perimeter equals, since we found out this is 3 pi up here, we can say this is 3, because we know that's 3 and that's 3. So we have 3 plus 3 plus 3 pi. So the perimeter equals 6 plus 3 pi. And then we're using feet, so we'd say feet. Interesting, huh? Well, the area, we're only looking at half a circle. So the area is going to be half the traditional area. So we're going to just take half of pi r squared, because it's a semicircle. So we're going to use, and I'll do this just to make sure you guys don't confuse this with any new formula. Pi, and then radius is 3. So then we have half of 3 squared is 3 times 3 is 9. So half of 9 ends up 4.5 pi. And this would be feet squared. Okay, so the area for this is this. So this is the area of a semicircle. And then this is our perimeter right here. Whoops, no, that's not. This is our perimeter. Right there, actually. Boom. That's why boxes are really helpful, huh? Helps me find your answers, helps you find my answers. Okay. Let's go on to, I think that's the last example. So we have done section 12.2. Have a wonderful day.